Things that are going to change your financial future. What is going on, guys? That's what we're going to be talking about here in this video today. So I'm reading this new book called The Psychology of Money, which really inspired this video. We're going to get into that and why in a little bit. But I was thinking, what can people do to build a foundation? Because not everyone has a desire to, I guess, be so savvy with personal finance, or not everyone knows how, I guess is probably a better way to phrase it. So I was really thinking, what value can I give that would help people, that's going to help everyone watching this video kind of start to build a foundation so they can start to take control of their financial future and ultimately just change the path that they might be on and put themselves on a better path. So I ended up coming up with 5 things that you can start doing today that'll change your financial future that are really going to help you years down the line. Now, keep in mind, are these things going to change your life if you don't start them today, if you start them tomorrow? Probably not. It's probably not going to make a difference, but that's the mindset you have to have. You have to have that mindset that if you do this and you stay consistent for years and years and years, it's going to make a significant difference. I promise you guys that. And you have to remember, most people's wealth, it wasn't built in a day. Most people don't have their wealth given to them unless they're a trust fund baby or they just get a little bit lucky or whatever the case may be. A lot of people don't have that wealth given to them. Everyone has to build that wealth, or a lot of people have to build their wealth rather. And a lot of those people do so by doing some of the things we're going to talk about on this list. So I really hope you guys enjoy this. I really hope you guys get some value out of it. It did take me a while to come up with this. I really tried to sit down and think, not come up with too many cookie cutter ideas, stuff that really I haven't talked about on the channel before. So if you do enjoy this, please drop a like on the video. That would really mean a lot to me. And that would really show you guys like these videos that I don't just do about stock news or stock analysis or whatever the case may be. Also, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, this is your first time here, welcome. Please subscribe. I'd love to have you and just be around for more videos. And if you want to see more videos like this, then it's a win-win for both of us. So the first thing on this list that we're going to talk about, the first step, the first thing that's going to change your financial future that you can take if you can implement something like this is look at today versus tomorrow, okay? Look at short-term satisfaction and be willing to sacrifice it for a long-term gain. And to kind of put this into perspective here, I do have an analogy. I do have a dieting analogy we're going to go over. So let's say that someone is dieting, for example. They want to lose 20 pounds. That's their goal. New Year's resolution, maybe after their birthday, whatever the case may be. They want to lose 20 pounds. So they start off, they're doing very well so far. They're losing 1 to 2 pounds a week, assuming you're doing it the correct way and you're not just slashing your calories by some ridiculous amount, but you're eating well, you're still getting all your calories and you're hitting your macros and you're losing 1 to 2 pounds a week. So let's say you're a month into it. You're past that 2-week point. And in my opinion, 2 weeks is actually the hardest part of dieting because you just have those cravings. Once you get past that 2-week point, it actually gets a lot easier in my opinion. Anyway, that's not the point of this video. So anyway, let's say you're a month in and you decide, I really just want pizza today. I just need it, I want it. You're thinking about it all day, on the way home from the office, at work, whatever the case may be, you're thinking about it. So finally you get to a point where you're just all right, you know what, it's just today, I'll eat it today, I'll take the cheat day, I'll eat pizza today, and then I'll get right back on track tomorrow. Well, so that might be okay. You might think it's okay when you say that it's okay just today, but there's a couple of things that are going to happen. There's a couple of comparisons I want to draw here to the finance aspect. So the first thing is, what happens when you think about something all day? You're going to want it more and more and more because your thoughts influence your action. So that's the first thing I want to draw your attention to. So if you really want something, going back to the finance perspective, if it's some materialistic item, it's a new TV, it's a new fan, whatever the case may be, a new couch, and you really don't need one and you know deep down you can't afford it and you know you shouldn't buy it, what I would recommend is just get your mind off it immediately. Do whatever you have to do to get your mind off it. Maybe it's go for a run, go work out at the gym, maybe read an article, maybe, I don't know what the case may be, whatever people do. Whatever you have to do, watch a movie, get your mind off of it and don't think about it because your thoughts are going to influence reality. And if you keep thinking about it all day, chances are you're more likely to buy it. That's the first thing. So obviously with the pizza example, if you're thinking about pizza all day long and you just want it and want it and want it, you're going to be more likely to stop and get pizza on the way home. You're going to be more likely to order takeout and get that pizza. You're going to be more likely to order that materialistic item that you don't need and you can't afford. That's the first comparison I want to draw to that. The second comparison is what's going to happen the next day when you wake up. What's going to happen is you're going to get up after you eat that pizza. You're probably going to feel a little bit fuller because you've been dieting and it's more calories than they're used to. You're going to get on the scale and you're going to weigh yourself. And for most people, maybe for a refeed day done successfully, whatever the case may be, you're going to look at the scale and it's not going to be what you want to see. And you're going to see it set you back. Well, the same thing applies to finance like this if you're looking at today against tomorrow. That's the thing. Because what's going to happen is you're going to be like, oh man, now I was down 5 pounds, but now I gained all that back, or I gained some of it back, so I set myself back a couple of weeks. Or from a financial perspective, you might be, Like, I was doing so good with the saving. I had this much saved, but then I went out last night and I blew this much money. Then I bought this yesterday on Amazon, and it just adds up. So the bottom line is, are you willing to sacrifice short-term satisfaction for long-term gain? And that's the bottom line here. And I think if you can do this, if you can put off those things that you really don't need, just sacrifice those materialistic wants, you're going to be in a lot better position, and you're honestly going to have a lot more money. You're going to be able to save a lot more money. You're going to be able to invest a lot more money, and your financial future is going to change for the better. So final thoughts here, just to wrap up this first point and to summarize. When you want something and you know you can't afford it, like I said, it doesn't matter what it is, a TV, couch, whatever the case may be, ask yourself, how am I going to feel about this tomorrow? How am I going to feel if I eat this pizza? Is this going to set me back? Should I really do this? Is this going to make me happy long term? Or is this just going to make me feel bad in the morning? Is this going to make me feel guilty in the morning? Ask yourself that. Ask yourself, and I think you'll be able to save a lot more money, and you'll be able to do a lot better with those material items that you really don't need or can't afford in some cases. The second thing that you can start doing too that's really going to change your financial future and honestly can put you in a better financial position, in my personal opinion, is to talk about money. Now, I know this is not going to be everyone's favorite one, and I'm probably not going to be everyone's favorite person here. And a lot of people watching this are probably not going to agree with this. And hey, to each its own, I don't blame them. If it's not something you want to talk about, I completely understand why people don't want to talk about it, because it's a personal thing, and you don't need to talk about it with everyone. But when I say something like this, I'm not saying like go post a status on Facebook saying like I have $50,000 to my name, or like I have this much in assets. No, you don't need to do that, or like anything like my house is worth this much, or whatever the case may be. You really don't need to do that. That's not what I mean about this. I mean just find like a couple of close friends that you can really be open and honest with and be like, look, this is what I have. What do you think I should do with it? Do you think this is a good investment? I have this much in here. Just to kind of get second opinions. Obviously, at the end of the day, you're going to have to make your own decisions, but you can learn a lot from doing things like this, as we're going to talk about in a second here. And I want to point this out, and this is why it's so important, because if you do this, you might learn something that you never would have even thought you would know. So in the book, The Psychology of Money, that I'm reading, that I talked about before, we're going to go back to it again in a minute, but I'm reading it and I saw this thing in there. There was this quote in there that the author was talking about, and he mentioned that if you have a sibling, right, around the same age, we'll say two boys, obviously this might not apply if it's like a boy and a girl, but we'll say two guys, right? You're more likely to adopt the same money habits as them, as opposed to being the same height. Now, at first I was like, that seems a little odd. Don't you think they'd be like relatively the same height? But I'm talking like one could be like 6 feet and one could be like 5'5". That's more likely, or that's less likely than rather than adopting the same money habits. So I really thought, why is that the case? And then the book went on to say, it's because it's more of a monkey see, monkey do thing. They adopt the principles they see that their parents have, because that's all they know. And I completely understand that. It makes perfect sense to me once I broke that down. And it can be hard to break these habits because it's all you know. If your parents do something that maybe isn't the best financial thing, then chances are you're going to adopt that. And it's not anyone's fault. It's just what they believe, and it's what you believe because you've seen your entire life. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm just trying to say is the grass might be green on the other side. If you flip over that coin, there might be something that you would have never thought you would have known if you had never brought it up. And obviously, like I mentioned, this is a taboo topic and no one wants to talk about it. There are a lot of reasons, a lot of good reasons, don't get me wrong. But just by, as I've said so many times in this couple minute segment, by doing it, you could learn things that you would have never thought you would learn. So I will give you a personal example of myself. So a few years back, or several years back, this is a while ago, I can't remember how old I was was sitting in a restaurant with a friend, and we were talking, and this is one of my friends we're very open about money with. We'll exchange really, we'll talk about numbers. Whatever you ask, I tell. Whatever I ask, he tells. Stuff like that. Just a good friend that you can always get a second opinion from. So we were talking about it, and we were talking about money, and he brought up the idea of an online savings account. So he brought up the idea that you can put your money in an online savings account and get, I think at the time it might have been like a 2.5% or a 3% interest rate, return on your money, APY, as opposed to just leaving it in like a regular bank like Webster Bank or Centerville or whatever the case may be, Washington Trust, and getting like no money, like 18 cents a year, whatever the case may be. And that idea just like blew up, and I took it and ran with it. And I was like, you're telling me I can make money just by switching my bank account? Like, that idea blew my mind. And keep in mind, at this time, I've always been a saver, but I didn't know anything about like personal finance, investing, or anything. So just the idea of a 2% or a 2.5%, whatever it was, return to savings account blew my mind. Like, I blew up. Then he was like, yeah. Then he got talking about into Roth IRAs and how you can build tax-free wealth through that, and like all the earnings you make are tax-free. That really blew my mind, and that if I just, invest very consistently, I can be a millionaire in really, no time. I don't want to say no time, but very achievable at a very early age of my life. So just these two things really blew up in my mind, and I just took it and ran with it, and that's really how I started on the path to where I am today. Maybe I'll make another video sometime about a little more detail about that story, but I just want to give you a personal example. If I wasn't open with my friend about money and I wasn't open about what I should do with it at that time, then I probably wouldn't be where I am today, and I wouldn't be on the path I am today. So just by being open and being willing to learn about money and talking about it and being open to talking about it, you can learn a lot. Because if I never did that, I probably wouldn't have any investments today. I probably wouldn't have any retirement accounts today, and I probably would think that retirement is still an age as opposed to a number. And what I mean by that is I feel like it's very stereotypical in society that's like, all right, retirement's 62, 65, 70, you might never be able to retire. And that's not the case. Retirement is about how much money you have, how much money you can live off of, and obviously how do you achieve that? You achieve it through investments most of the time, unless you get lucky and you stumble into some wealth, which if you do, congratulations. But most of the time it's through investing, and it's through investing consistently and often, as early as you can rather, and just keep doing it and just staying consistent with it, and then you move on and retirement. So bottom line, if you're someone that's very closed off about money, and obviously if you really don't want to talk about it, it makes you want to throw up and you can't sleep at night, don't feel like you have to talk about it if you're watching this video. But if you're someone that really has never talked about it and you think, all right, I really want to change my financial future, consider just opening up to someone you're very close with. Just try it. If someone that's not going to tell anyone else, just somebody you're very close with, just try it. Because what's the absolute worst thing that could happen? And make sure you tell them, like, I'm not saying this to make you jealous. I'm not saying this to make you feel bad. I literally just want a piece of advice, and I feel like you're a good person to go to. Just try it. See what happens. The third step that you can take, the third thing that you can do to change your financial future is thinking about money. Now this is along the same lines as the last point, but it's going to be a little different. My point's going to be a little bit different here. So if you don't like to think about money, I don't blame you. It can stress people out a lot. Hey, it stresses me out too. Trust me, it stresses everyone out to some degree. Really, I feel like everyone in the middle, lower class is going to be stressed out. To some degree about money, they're just going to. I mean, I just feel like it's part of life. But you can change that, and there's things you can do to put yourself in better positions. So more specifically, ask yourself, are you in the financial position you want to be in? Are you? If you're not, that's completely fine. Some people want more. Some people are satisfied. A lot of people probably want more. If you're not satisfied, then start asking yourself stuff like this. Ask yourself, how can I get more money? Like, what can I do to obtain more money? What can I do to build my wealth? Ask yourself that. And don't be afraid to think outside the box here. Truly sit down and ask yourself, what can I actually do that's going to make me more money over the long term? Maybe it's not today, maybe it's not tomorrow, but over the long term, what is going to make me more money and what is going to put me in a better financial position? Another thing you can ask yourself, what changes can you make to get your financial life to where you want it to be? What can you make? What changes can you make? It's a very valid question. There's tons of things that you can do. There's tons of options out there. And we'll go over an example here really quick. An example could be someone who just sits around on the weekends and really is always bored. Maybe they don't want to go out. Maybe they want to relax from their job, whatever the case may be. And if you're someone that's like this, I'm not bashing you at all. This is strictly an example. But let's say you're just someone that sits around and just wants something to do, needs something to do. Then why don't you think about allocating your time a little bit better so you can make more money, and it's going to help you build your wealth, because just making an extra $100 or $200 a week, that can really add up, and that can really change your life over a period of time. So some things you can do if someone is out there that's like this, really just looking for something to do, why not allocate your time a little bit differently so you can make more money? Maybe this is by looking for a new job. Maybe it's by picking up a part-time job. Maybe it's by starting a side hustle. Maybe it's like looking for different investment opportunities or teaching yourself about investment opportunities and all those different things like real estate, stock market, everything in between. Why not try it? What's the worst that could happen? Because if you do this, like I said before, just an extra couple $100 a week, that's going to help you grow your wealth exponentially over so many years. And this is what I really love about investing. Learning how to invest, it helps you have that longer term mindset. I'll use myself again as an example here. Some people, I'm sure someone's out there watching this video, why are you even recording this video? Like, you don't even have 400 subscribers. What's the point of recording this video? What's that gonna do for you? If you spend 5 hours making this video or 6 hours making this video, which sometimes it does take that long, what's the point? Wouldn't you rather just be relaxing? Don't you have a Netflix series you wanna watch? Don't you have friends you wanna see? The answer to all those things is yes, I do. But understanding investment philosophies, understanding, value investing, growth investing, index investing, all those different things, understanding it, I believe that over the long term, that filming this video today, editing this video today, getting this video ready for maybe the 50 or 100 people that are gonna watch it tomorrow, that's important to me because that's gonna make me money over the long term. Obviously, if you put $100 in an S&P 500 fund, is that gonna make you wealthy tomorrow? No, it's not. It's probably might even lose you money tomorrow. Who knows what's gonna happen, especially with this whole GameStop fiasco. That's besides the point. It's really not. But if you keep investing $100 a week over the course of 30 or 40 years, is that gonna make you money? That's gonna grow your wealth exponentially. And understanding those investment philosophies is why I keep this site also going. It's why I post on TikTok. It's why I post stories on Instagram. It's why I record YouTube videos and talk to a camera in my room with no one else around. It's part of the reason, it's part of the journey. And you have to be willing to embrace the journey. And by doing things like this, by thinking about money and asking yourself, how can I make more money? What can I do to put myself in a better financial position? How can I change my financial life? I promise you it's going to change it. The first step is just starting. That's what you have to do. You honestly just have to start. The second to last thing, the fourth thing that you can do to change your financial life, and this might be the hardest one on this list. This is probably the one I personally struggle with the most. I think this is definitely the hardest one on this list. Either this one or the next one, but I can see why a lot of people have struggled with it. And this is something I really want to try to get better. These next two I really want to try to get better at in 2021. And that's just being honest with yourself at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, if you're not honest with yourself about your personal finances, about your spending habits, about all these things that are related to money, it's honestly going to be tough to get better at them. If you want to change, you have to be completely honest with yourself. That's the bottom line. That's how I view it. I think that's how a lot of people view it. But how can you grow as a person? How can you grow in finance? How can you grow in business? How can you grow in school? How can you grow in anything if you're not honest and you're not objective with yourself and you can't evaluate yourself and realize the changes that you need to make in order to do a better job at whatever it is you're pursuing? For example, I have one written here. Say someone has a health issue, whatever the case may be, whatever the health issue is. If you don't say, okay, I have this health problem, I need to take care of it, then it's probably not going to get better. It's probably going to keep eating at you one way or the other until something awful happens. Unfortunately, that sounds pretty dark and gloomy, but that's the truth. If you don't take care of it, it's not going to get better. That's the bottom line. And it's the same with your finances. If you have a spending problem, how is that going to get better if you don't evaluate your spending and admit that you have a spending problem and maybe ask someone for help that's a little bit outside? But if you can't evaluate yourself objectively and you can't say to yourself, okay, I'm spending too much money, I'm not as good with money as some people might be, I need to change these habits if I want to get to where I want to be. If you're not willing to take that step, then how do you expect to get better? How do you expect to get better if you can't say to yourself, I'm not good with money, I want to be good with money, I need to figure out how to do that? And set up like very specific goals. Like, that's a bad example. I just said, don't say, how can I be better with money? Like, I want to be better with money. Don't say that. Say, I want to save this much to prove to myself I'm better with money. Say, by the end of 2021, I want to save $5,000 and I want to save this much every month, and that's going to prove to myself that I've gotten better with money. Say specific goals like that, and that's going to, first of all, it's going to make you feel a little bit better about yourself, in my opinion. I know I try to write out goals every day, and it makes me feel very well when I accomplish them. I think setting out goals like that for yourself is a great thing to do. That's what I'd recommend. That's up to you. Obviously, for everything we talk about on this channel, you need to make your own opinions, do your own research, do your own due diligence, all those things. But I really think that would be a great start if you set goals, money goals. Then maybe you can branch out and ask someone very close to you that you need advice from. Be like, I'm setting these, I'm admitting I'm not good with finances, and it's going to be hard. This is going to be a hard conversation to have with someone. But hey, if you do the hard things in life, your life's going to end up being easy. If you do the easy thing, your life's going to end up being hard. So that's the fourth one on this list. Just be honest with yourself. And honestly, this is going to lead to growing more as a person, both in finance and outside of finance. So that's my biggest recommendation to you. We have one more on this list, and that is going to be not comparing yourself to others. That's the fifth and final thing we're going to be talking about on this list. This is another one I really want to get better at in 2021. I really tend to compare myself to others, and this really isn't necessary. There's really no need to, but especially with finances, because there's always going to be someone that has more money than you at every single level. It literally does not matter. It doesn't matter if you're making $10,000 a year and you're 17 years old. It doesn't matter if you're 45 and you're making $200,000 a year. There's always going to be someone that's making more money than you. There's always going to be someone that knows more than you. There's always going to be someone that just has more money than you in general. There really is. Their portfolio is going to be better. They outperform the market more than you do. There's always going to be someone. Now, look at it this way. I have these examples up here. So the first one is, say, we'll take me and Johnny, for example. I make $30,000 a year. Johnny makes $50,000 a year. Should I really be jealous of Johnny because he makes $20,000 more than me? So let's say I am jealous of Johnny, right? I'm like, oh my God, I got to make more money than Johnny. I got to make more money than Johnny. So I end up making more money than Johnny. Now I'm making $60,000 a year. Well, then there's Jimmy, on the other side of the office, who's making $100,000 a year. So now, same thing. I'm like, oh, I got to make more money than Jimmy. I got to make more money than Jimmy. So I really grind. All of a sudden, I'm making $110,000 a year. But then there's Adam on the other end of the office making $150,000 a year. There's always going to be someone. And this is the one that the book Psychology of Money really inspired. This really inspired this video, that book and this one right here, because this is the example that the book gave. So look at it this way. So we got a rookie who plays with the Angels, we'll say, and then we got Mike Trout. So the rookie's probably making $500,000 a year, maybe we'll say. So to a lot of people probably watching this video, that's a lot of money. You would kill to make $500,000 a year. A lot of people watching this video would, and I don't blame you. That's one thing. But then this rookie might be looking at, across the diamond at Mike Trout, and he might be thinking Mike Trout's got a $400 million+ contract. That's a lot of money. Compared to the rookie, that's absolutely nothing. But then you can make the argument, Mike Trout's looking at Warren Buffett, and Warren Buffett's worth about $85 billion, I think. That's $400 million is nothing compared to $85 billion. But then you can make the argument Buffett is looking at Bezos, and Bezos is worth, what, 180 something billion? That's it. He's also making more money. So it doesn't matter what level you're on, there's always going to be someone that's wealthier than you, unless you're that top 1% of people or top 0.01% of people, which is very unlikely. I hate to break it to you, but it is very unlikely. So the bottom line here is really don't get caught up in that. If someone talks about money, don't feel bad if you don't have as much as them. Don't feel bad if you're not doing as well as them. Because the point is, in life, everyone's going to end up going at their own pace. There's no set path to go on. There's no written rule that's saying you need to do this by this age. Go at your own pace. Some people don't have children until they're in their mid-30s. Others have them in their early 20s. Some people don't buy a house until, they're well into their 30s. Some buy a house right out of high school if they want to get into real estate investing. Some people don't open retirement accounts and want to work, I guess, because they enjoy their job, and that doesn't really matter to them when they retire if they genuinely enjoy it. Some people want to retire in their 30s, 40s, even in their 20s, some people if you're really lucky, and travel the world. There's no set path. There's nothing you have to do to be right. It's just what you think is right. As long as, and this is very important, this is probably the most important part of this video, as long as you're growing, learning, and expanding as a person in your finances and really all around, that's the important thing, and that's what really matters, and that's the whole purpose of this video. Just get you guys thinking about things you can change your financial life and get to where you want to be. Use money as a tool, because money, unfortunately, some people don't like it. It makes the world go round. It's very important, and I hope this video really inspired you to really take control of your financial future. Maybe do some of these things that we talked about and change. Anyway, guys, I'm saying that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you do get some value out of this, if this did help you change your financial future or take some sort of steps into changing your financial future, please drop a like on the video. That means a lot to me, and that would really help me out in a massive way. Also, if this is your first time here, please subscribe to the channel. That would also mean a lot to me. I'm very happy to have you. Thank you for watching the video. I very appreciate it. Let me know down in the comments if I missed any steps or any ideas of changing your financial future that you'd like me to talk about or that you took to change your financial future. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video.